A federal report into the 2023 SeaWorld helicopter tragedy has finally provided the families of the victims and the survivors with some answers. The investigation uncovered 28 findings of safety issues and failures, including a faulty radio and clear conflict zone. In response, SeaWorld says it will respond to the recommendations. Meanwhile, Shine Lawyers has lodged civil lawsuits against the company on behalf of the survivors and witnesses. For more, Australian Transport Safety Bureau Chief Commissioner Angus Mitchell joins us in Sydney. Great to have you with us. So this report found major issues, particularly with a faulty radio. How does something like that happen?
Look, thank you for having me, Chevo. And you're right, the radio was one part of what was a chain of events here. So we know that an initial radio call made by the landing helicopter around 2 minutes before the collision, well, that wasn't really, received by the departing pilot. He was busy loading passengers and getting ready for departure. And then when he went to taxi to take off, his radio call didn't get broadcast, and what we found was there was a fault in the antenna that had been there for a couple of days. So they were two of the things that contributed to this, but equally there was a whole range of, or a series of other mitigation failures that occurred. Now, we know that previously these helicopters had been operating, or the different helicopters had been operating with UHF radios, so the pilots often spoke to each other in internal comms. There was also iPads on board that gave them a better picture. So a lot of things were missing here, which ultimately led to what we know was a catastrophic outcome.
Yeah, communication, definitely one breakdown. What about visibility?
Well, we also know that because of the closing angles between the two helicopters, the helicopter particularly that was departing was lifting off from the pad. He had the other one to his right and back up behind him. So it was very difficult to see. And he also had the structure of the helicopter that really blocked that view. So the opportunities for both of those pilots to detect the other one was significantly limited. And they really only had, in one case, really a fraction of a second to see it. And you've got to see these things well and truly before they become an issue, because you've got to process it, then you've got to work out what you're going to do. So we do know that visibility played into this as well, and the fact that they had very limited chance to visually detect the other one, which was really what they relied on as their, their mitigating factor to keep each other apart. Yeah. That didn't work in this particular instance.
It's horrible seeing the recreation of that crash itself and that conflict zone and where those two collided. The investigation also found the passengers were incorrectly restrained. Could that have impacted the loss of life?
Well, we know they were incorrectly restrained because we can see some of that video footage and still cameras from when they were being loaded. Now, whilst we couldn't determine exactly the nature of the contribution, we know some of those passengers came out of their harnesses in the accident sequence. We know also that when you are correctly restrained, it's low and it's tight, your chances of survival and of limiting injuries is much greater. So we do have, and this is a message not just for the Australian industry, but around the world. We found that these things weren't being fitted correctly. So that is a good lesson around the globe, and we know that that's being picked up by other countries at the moment as well.
Yeah, we certainly have to learn from it, don't we? Thank you, Angus. Appreciate your time. Here's Nat.